The problems come at this level. That is the spiritual level. The spiritual level is the level that is more near at Atma. We can find, this model is derived by the kosha system. The spiritual level that takes directly from Atma what is the matrix and the network of the reality. The spiritual level gives directly from Atma what is the essence of the environment. And the clash happens between the model of reality that is created according to the ego and the truth that comes from the spiritual level and the intuitive level. Let's say that the intuitive level is the borderline between the spiritual part and the mental part. Is the part in which happen a lot of interactions, and is the part where mainly happen the clash between the mental and the intuitive level. If everything follows a nice path, Agni mediated transformation from spiritual to intuitive to mental to physical, and give a reason to the perceptions. If this works properly, the ego stays what it is. It's just the awareness of the self, of what we are. But the problem happened because this ego sometimes become very strong, and it doesn't want to follow the suggestion from the intuitive and spiritual level, because they give another interpretation, the right interpretation of the environment. This is a closed circle if everything is working properly. If everything is working properly, and the Agni is working properly, this is a closed circle. Now, at every of these levels may happen something to the Agni, but the most problem happen between the mental and intuitive, because there is the clash of the system. There is the clash of the system of the reality, model of reality generated by the ego, that in some way think to be the chief of this system, that want to believe only the reality as he would like, not as it is, and instead the messages that come from the spiritual part through the intuitive part to this level. So what happened? Okay, we can call also this level of matter, level of mind, level of self. What happened? So if there is a problem of alteration, okay, yes, this is everything I told is summarized by Charaka in this shloka. Mind transcends all sensorial perception. It is known as sattva. So when everything works, when Agni works, when there is no Ama in this circle, this is called the sattvic state. Its action is determined by its contact with Jivatma and the object that they reside. Thus, mind determines the meaning of all sensorial perception. And so this invite us to use correctly mind and senses. So, what happens if we have an alteration of Agni at this level that is due to the clash of these two levels and the formation of Ama? We have a block of communication between the levels. And this block of communication between the level is called something that you know very well, Prajna Parada, the error of the intellect. What is called the basis of all these diseases in Ayurveda is a state in which the ego think that what it thinks to be is the reality. We said that the ego is what we think that we are. Is what we think that we are, not what we really are. The situation of Prajna Parada is the situation in which the ego thinks that the reality is really what it thinks that it is. And it does not accept anything else. And so it conduces everything, it brings back everything only to his own experience. So everything is dominated by ego. The perception, the interpretation of reality, the interpretation of the fact, the behavior, everything is led by this ego. In the Western society, we have a lot of examples. Actually, we have a lot of examples in our lives. No? But there is one example that is fantastic. There is a fashion that is happening in the United States in this period, but is also coming in Italy, in Europe, is that if you are a female, you are around 40, and you had cancer problem in your mother, or in the family of your father, but especially in your mother, at 40 you can make a bilateral mastectomy preventive. So this is Prajna Parada, because they think that the reality works in the only way they perceive, only by what they create is the reality. I say this is true. So this is the basis of all the problems that we have. These are the basis for Ayurveda, for all these diseases. The extreme of this problem is what Dr. Manohar was speaking before, is cancer. Cancer that is a complete decoherence, alteration of the integration of our wholeness, and with this, the communication system between all layers of our reality, of our being. How long do I have? How much I have? How much time I have?
8 minutes.
How many?
15 minutes.
15? Oh. You are a friend of mine. So, now let's understand a little bit what is this mental ama. How can we recognize, how can we bring in our everyday knowledge this concept of mental ama? What does it mean, mental ama? Let's look at the guna. The guna are the qualities of mental ama. The guna of mental ama are the same of ama. And so are guru, shita, pichila, and stula. That means heavy, cold, slimy, and sticky, and gross. These are the basic qualities of physical ama. When you have, a big plug of cholesterol or whatever else, you have this kind of gunas. Now, let's try to translate. Since guna is a general concept that is not only, that you can not only apply to the matter, but you can apply it to everything, let's try to think how can we translate at the mental level this kind of gunas? There is only one possibility that is called attachment. Attachment is heavy, is shita, is pitchilat, it's very sticky attachment. It doesn't allow to pass, very gross. And the attachment also in Ayurveda, in all the Indian culture, is considered to be the basis of all mental and spiritual problems. In modern psychology, attachment can be declined in fixation and addiction. Attachment means to be attached to what we think that we are, to a model, to something, means that we are not able to accept anything different. And this can become a fixation or can become a dependence, an addiction. The basis of this mental behavior are translated in the two extremes, differently from sattva, that we know as tamas and rajas. In some way, fixation is more concerned to tamas, and addiction in some way is more concerned to rajas. Since rajas, at the pathological level, means something that is very quick, that moves very fast, but it is chasing its tail because it's not able to escape. And so it is attached and is dependent and is always there. So now we are starting to recognize what are the mental states, the mental conditions that are connected with the presence of ama. And also we have some indication that are very good for the doctors of the therapist, that if they want to help a person with this situation, they have to go to deal with this guna. And they have to give the opposite of these gunas. And so a doctor has to be very firm, but has to activate the patient. Activate in such a way that the patient is able to detach from his own fixation, from his own addiction, and be aware of the real truth. The problem is that this is very difficult, because the difficulty starts from the doctor itself, that not always is free from mental ama. And so this gives us a lot of indication on how we should prepare ourselves to do this job. Because it's not only a matter of technique. Technique is nothing. Technique you learn very quickly. You learn, you repeat. The problem is the modification of our soul, of our mind, of our attitude, the healthy state of our agni, of our physical as well as mental agni, that allows us to help other people. Unless we do not reach this, it will be a problem, because we can be involved in our patient's problem, or we can create more problem to our patients. So we have to be able to help the patient in finding different gunas. Now, there are pharmacological and treatment things that we can do. But the problem is that the basic of every therapy is the doctor or therapist-patient relationship. Because this is the basis of the therapy. Then you use all the other items as facilitators. But if you do not have these, you are not able to make any therapy. Drugs works at this level. They work on this kind of agni of the perception, agni between matter and mind. but they are limited. They can change our physical structure, they can change our mental structure, but they do not go over that. Physical treatments, they can go much further. They can go at the level of at the intuitive level. Actually, as a matter of fact, Ayurvedic physical treatments are fantastic in all psychiatric problems because they are able to bypass the mental ego and they go directly to change the intuitive level, and this changement goes back at the mental level and to the physical level again. And then if the problem is, and this is the treatments, so actually are the solution of the mental ama that we know. If the problem is higher and is between mental, intuitive, but also spiritual level, then at that level we need other things that are rituals. All of these possibilities are very well described in the classical text of Ayurveda. But more than the cure, as Dr. Manohar was saying, is the prevention. And the prevention is a cultural thing. So how can we prevent the formation of mental ama? The prevention of mental ama is a matter of education. In India, there is this great thing, the Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is not only a book,